Hello my friends who are listening to Ebird Online, and I'm back with yet another review. Guys, this season's shaping up to be quite a season. Usually I watch the episodes and think, well, who are the best two for me to do a review on this week? But I could literally, if I had the time, review about 6 couples this week. There's so much going on. But the lucky couple I'm going to be reviewing today are the newest loonballs in the asylum. They're a couple with a multitude of problems before they've even begun. And there's more than just an unanswered question or two. Who am I talking about? Yes, of course. It's none other than Christian and Cleo. Guys, I've got an awful lot to say about this couple. But just before I do, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to me over the past couple of weeks. My numbers are finally on the rise. But if you've yet to do so, please consider supporting me and supporting the channel by pressing subscribe. I do notice there's a lot of people who always watch my videos but have yet to subscribe. Guys, it's completely free and it's the best fun you'll have for nothing. Thanks guys. Also, don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoy the video as well. Right, so without further ado, I give you Christian and Cleo. Okay, so it's time for Ebird's prophecy. I predict that in, 2 weeks and about 2 or 3 days, this couple will be finished, finito, donezo, off, over. Now the way these two tell it, they're dreamers and hopeless romantics. The way I tell it, they're wishful thinkers and fantasists. I feel as if both of these people have told multiple lies, and that's just so far. Neither one of these two could lie straight in bed. I'm not quite sure if they're aware that they're lying or not. I've yet to work that out. But what I think is most unbelievable is that they've decided to televise this shit show. So week by week, we're going to be able to pick these, half-truths to bits. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's get on with this week's action. So first up, we meet 32-year-old Christian. Christian's from Minnesota and is on his way to a Halloween party.
We're live. 3, 2, 1. This is Chet Steiner reporting from Twin Cities, Minnesota. Outside of a Halloween party now, we're going to go inside and see what everything's all about. Stay tuned for more. My name's Christian. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm 30 years old.
Oh, good lord, guys. I'm trying to recall a time when I've met somebody who looks so very pleased with themselves, although I do have to say, his impression was pretty good. But according to Christian, he's the life and soul of the party. He's super uber outgoing. He can't stress hard enough just how outgoing he is. Wanna see more? Neither do I. But hey ho, you're here, so am I. So we may as well have a look. And so he's going to some sort of Halloween party at one of his friends' houses. And it looks absolutely lit. If you take off the L and put on an SH. And as Christian and his friends dance around a rather lackluster backyard, he tells us a little bit more about himself.
People would describe me as the life of the party, for sure. When I go out, I like to dance. I like to drink a cocktail. I love to make people laugh.
Right, people would describe you as the life and soul of the party, or you would describe yourself as the life and soul of the party. There's a subtle yet fundamental difference. And then Christian goes on to tell us about his relationships. And he says he's been called starry-eyed Christian before, because he meets somebody, they're the absolute apple of his eye. But a couple of weeks later, he's bored with them and he moves on. What? This does not bode well for poor Cleo. It really doesn't.
During the pandemic, I even eloped with a girlfriend of mine, but I ended up getting it annulled later that year. I'm never really settling. I'm really looking for somebody that I want to spend the rest of my life with, a companion, a partner.
During the pandemic, he got married and then a few months later got it annulled, like it was just nothing. Guys, Christian isn't serious about relationships. He's not. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Christian is a right swiper. I bet Christian has no idea of the concept of swiping left. He doesn't even know it's possible. Anyway, he goes on to tell us about Cleo. They met online, surprise, surprise. He tells us she lives in London and she's a model. And he lets us know that she's very quirky and very funny. Really? I'll be the arbiter of that. I'm doubting that she is. And then Christian lets us know that Cleo's very different from everybody else he's ever dated. Interesting. Very interesting. And next up, finally, we meet Cleo. And she's walking through Trafalgar Square in London. Or should I say, catwalking through Trafalgar Square in London.
I'm Cleo. I'm 32 years old. I'm a student and a model. And I'm autistic.
Anything else? Fair enough. All in your own time. Next up, Cleo goes catwalking through Leicester Square, one of the busiest places in Western Europe. But wait, what's this? There seems to be a problem. And guys, Cleo's putting on headphones to block out the noise because she can't bear how busy it is in Leicester Square. She lets us know that she has a neurodivergent disability, i.e. autism, and because of that she's prone to panic attacks. And so she also wears a sunflower lanyard to let people know of her invisible disability. Oh, don't worry, Cleo. Soon you'll have an all too visible disability. His name's Christian and he's making his way to London now. No need for the lanyard when Christian turns up. And so Cleo goes to meet one of her friends in a cafe. And when she gets there, she's a little bit overwhelmed, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I just had to go through all of central London and
That's
it's
okay.
so busy. I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now, so like I'm gonna need like a few minutes.
Yeah, chill. We're chilling. I've got time today, so no rush.
Great.
And there was quite a few minutes where she was, not really able to talk. She was stuttering and so on. Her friend Osama did manage to calm her down a bit. But then, inexplicably, Cleo decides to break the fourth wall.
Neurodivergent people sometimes don't like unexpected things, so it's nice to kind of know what to expect. Do you guys know your star sign or your personality type at all?
I'm an Aquarius.
Okay, yeah, I can totally see you being an Aquarius. And a Leo, okay. And what about you? A Libra.
Guys, what this has to do with the price of fish, I'll never know. But I guess if it helps to calm her down, it helps to calm her down. But what's really interesting to me, and something which I think is a big own goal for TLC, is showing the sheer number of crew that are shooting at any one time. There were 3 people on the right and at least 2 people behind the camera. Now, why do I say it's an own goal? Mainly because it makes sense for the viewer to imagine that when somebody's having an intimate chat or bearing their soul about something, there's, a couple of people there recording and that's it. If you know it's a full-on camera crew, which I guess we kind of did know, but you know what I mean. If it's made clear to you it's a full-on camera crew, it detracts from that idea that it's a fly-on-the-wall scenario. Yeah, bad move from TLC. Very bad move, I think. Cleo tells her friend all about Christian. She speaks about him in such glowing terms. And she says they met on the internet and very, very soon they were talking for hours a day. And it's what she thinks about for most of the day. So guys, I get the sense that Cleo is really invested in this relationship. And she points out that she's very introverted. She's a Virgo. And that Christian's a mad extrovert. He's a Gemini. And she also said that a key trait of the Gemini personality is inconsistency. One minute they want to do this, and the next minute it's all off, they want to do that. That should strike the fear of God into you, if you believe all of this, I guess. But given the fact that we've already seen and heard from Christian, it kind of seems like he absolutely is like that, so I don't really see it for he and Cleo. And Cleo finishes up by saying in the past, guys have broken up with her because she's refused to go out and she's not an extrovert, and she hopes it doesn't happen with Christian because she'll be truly heartbroken if things don't work out. Oh Cleo, prepare for heartbreak. And so the next time we meet up with Cleo, she's meeting up with her friend Jane, and they go to a second-hand store so Cleo can find a new outfit to greet Christian. And so as they browse through the store, Cleo tells Jane all about Christian. And Jane said, aren't you worried that you've never met, that you might be, put off by each other? And then Cleo says the following.
That's definitely a valid concern, especially because he's never dated a trans woman before. Oh, wow. At birth, I was assigned male. However, I identify as a transgender woman.
Well, finally we got there. The cat's finally out of the bag. What say you, Christian? Well, Cleo tells Claire that according to Christian, her being trans, he doesn't think it's going to be a problem for him. And so Cleo says the things that she wants to change are her Adam's apple, her hairline, and she also wants to get a boob job. She says she's on lots of hormones and testosterone blocker, but she's also yet to have her gender confirmation surgery. And so Cleo finishes up by saying she thinks that maybe Christian can handle things, but she's worried about him standing up to the societal pressure. His parents, his friends and so on, how are they going to feel about him dating a trans woman? Well, Cleo, wonder no longer, we're about to find out. And so we go over to Christian, who's playing poker with his friends. And Christian reveals to us that he's already told his friends that Cleo's transgender, but even if he hadn't, he believes that nobody would be able to tell anyway. And his friends have a few questions for him.
Have you explored with other genders, or is this all new to you?
There was a time in college where I made out with a guy. And immediately I just knew, I was like, this ain't for me. Like, I'm heterosexual AF,
So here we have issue number 1, heterosexual AF, as fuck. Oh, Christian, what prompted you to add the AF? Why not just simply say, yeah, well, it wasn't me, I'm not gay. But oh no, he's heterosexual AF. It's ever so slightly toxic for one who's about to get into a relationship with somebody who's trans. But what came next? Well, guys, it literally took my breath. So one of his friends asked if she's had gender confirmation surgery. And fair enough, Christian said, well, it's not something I really want to talk about. But the way he said it, guys, kind of made you realise, no, she hasn't. And Christian also says to production he finds it really out of order that his friends asked that question. He finds it highly, highly nosy. He doesn't go around asking what their girlfriend's labia is like. So why should they be able to ask this question of Cleo? And of course, whilst we all know that is the correct answer, I've got to tell you guys, don't think badly of me, but I always think the same thing myself. I genuinely do. I genuinely always wonder. Although I know, even the Ebird, Big Mouth Ebird, even I know never to actually ask the question. You just have to wait around until somebody decides to tell you or not.
Hypothetically, if you got some boobies up front.
Oh my God.
You got down low.
Oh boy. I mean, I'd have to cross that bridge when I come to it.
Oh Lord, I've got just so much to say about this. 1, Christian, why are you letting all your friends sit around and laugh at the anatomy of your girlfriend? Do you think if she heard this, and by now she will have done, do you think she'd be laughing? I don't think so. Now I understand some of you might say, well, this is just for cameras. Yes, it may be. But there are definitely ways to ask things and ways to express things that don't take the living piss out of the person. Secondly, Christian, who are you kidding? I haven't really thought about it. I'll just cross that bridge when it comes to it. Either A, this shit ain't going to work out because it's the kind of thing you really do need to have thought about if you're going to go forward. Or B, you have thought about it, you thought about it loads. And this is exactly what you want. Now, I don't know which side of the fence you come down on. I guess time will tell. But before Cleo meets any of your friends, especially these ones here, you're going to have to give them a few lessons on etiquette and shut this kind of shit straight down. And so anyway, he denies that he's worried at all. And he says sex isn't a big part of a relationship for him. And his friend said to him, but you've just said yourself, I'm straight AF. It's going to be different. How aren't you apprehensive at all? Isn't there anything in you that is, I don't know, a bit worried?
Well, I mean, maybe I will have some anxieties or some apprehension. Because, you know, it's definitely going to be different. I can't say that it won't be.
So it is going to be different. You are anxious and you are apprehensive. Right, finally we get to the real truth of the matter. All of this is very unsurprising to me, but you've got to remember, Christian, there's another human being on the other end of this jaunt. But that's not quite all. The next day, we see a hungover Christian at one of his best friend's house, having a whiskey at breakfast, you know, hair of the dog and all that. And talk turns once more to his trip to London to see Cleo. And guys, guess what this numbskull has done? I can't believe it. He decided not to tell his family that Cleo was trans, because he figured he wanted them to get to know her first, and then to let them know, just to make things a bit easier. But instead, he decided to tell 1 or 2 members of his family, and before he knew it, the whole of the family knew. Well, to say they're not happy is an understatement. And when Christian was talking to production, he casually said, after my family found out that Cleo was trans, Christian, you told them. This is pretty much your doing. Now if they guessed, that's another thing. But you didn't wait to see, did you? And his friend concludes that it's unsurprising that his parents aren't happy because the older generation aren't used to that sort of thing, and I pretty much think he's right. They need to be bedded in with forethought and carefully. But either way, every single situation with this has to be handled and considered and thought about properly. Let's think back to last season. Gabe and Isabel. They thought about, plotted, planned and considered when they were going to say something for the best outcome. Guys, Christian's just a fool. Like I keep on saying, Christian, he ain't serious. And as if simply to prove my point, the final time we see Christian this week, he's on his way to the airport with his friend Tom. And Tom said, how are you feeling? Apprehensive? And he said, well, yeah. Actually, I called Cleo and I asked her if it would be okay if we didn't kind of like, I don't know, kiss each other or hug or anything. Just feel our way around it and see how it goes. And he said, I think she was pretty weirded out by it all. Of course she was, Christian, because she knows that you are weirded out by it all. After months of saying, yeah, I'm absolutely fine, you now realise I'm not fine, not at all, not by a long stretch of the imagination. And so finally, Christian arrives at the airport, and as he boards the plane, he lets production know that he's not sure how things are going to go when he finally meets Cleo. He said, we're different on so many levels, I just don't know how things are going to pan out. Guys, I knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to kind of get cold feet at the last moment. And then he was going to blame it on her neurodivergency or her autism, instead of admitting that he hasn't thought through this whole trans thing. And at this point I would say poor Cleo. In fact, I do say poor Cleo. But I also think that Cleo knows herself and she should have perhaps sought to protect herself better from people like Christian. Anyway guys, that's everything for this video. There's a lot to kind of consider, and I'd love to hear your comments down below. Please let me know if you think this relationship can work. I certainly don't. And also let me know what you think to Christian saying, I'm straight AF. And yes, there's just one S in that acronym. And yes, there is just one S in that acronym. But yes, please, comments down below, and I'll get on with my next video. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Loads of people are watching without having subscribed. Please do me a favour and press that big red button. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.